How many brilliant, world-changing ideas have you had that died before you even stood up? How many times did your alarm clock sound like a distant cannon, only for you to silence the call to action, melting back into the soft comfort of your pillow? It is the oldest battle in human history. The battle between the self who knows what needs to be done and the self who desperately wants to stay exactly where it is. While we listen to the story, we will also learn some new words about momentum, inertia, and how to ignite real change. This is the story of Ethan, a young man who was an absolute master of the almost. He lived in Portland, Maine, in a small apartment above a bookstore where the scent of aging paper and dust motes hung heavy in the air. Ethan was 27 years old, and he wanted to be a furniture designer, specializing in beautiful, sustainable wood pieces. He had the blueprints. He had the space, a garage workshop behind his building, rented cheaply. He had the tools. He even had the name for his fledgling business, The Grain and the Grace. But Ethan also had a problem. It was the problem of the zero moment, the moment of starting. His workshop was not a scene of creative mess. It was a monument to paralysis. Half-finished walnut tables sat covered in drop cloths, waiting. The air compressor had been unpacked 6 months ago, yet remained unconnected. His filing cabinet held the empty application forms for his official business license, pristine and mocking. Each morning, the internal conflict began precisely at 6:30, when the winter dawn was still a bruised purple on the horizon. His mind would leap out of bed, full of motivation. Today, I file the paperwork. Today, I finish sanding the oak frame. Today, I launch. But the body, anchored by the lead weight of inertia, would protest. A thick, comforting voice, which Ethan privately called the shadow self, would whisper promises of another 5 minutes of warmth. It would offer logical excuses. The light is too poor right now. You need more coffee first. Wait until after you check your email. Just one more scroll. These small delays were poison. They opened the 5-minute window that quickly became the 5-hour abyss. By noon, the initial burst of energy was long gone, replaced by a dull ache of regret and the heavy understanding that, yet again, he had spent the day preparing to prepare. Ethan's one required daily ritual was visiting the Morning Grind, a cozy coffee shop owned by Mrs. Eleanor Vance. Mrs. Vance was 72, sharp as a tack, and ran the busiest shop downtown. She moved with the efficient grace of someone who understood physics deeply. She did not waste movement. Ethan sat by the window every morning, nursing a medium dark roast, watching Mrs. Vance work. One bitterly cold January morning, a large delivery truck pulled up, dropping off a colossal 100-pound sack of green coffee beans right on the sidewalk. Mrs. Vance needed those beans inside immediately. Ethan watched, already formulating his excuse not to help. The sidewalk was slick with ice. It was too heavy for her. Someone stronger would show up soon. Mrs. Vance did not look around for help. She simply stopped what she was doing, walked outside, wrapped her arms around the sack, and began dragging it. Her movements were not powered by brute strength, but by immediate commitment. She never hesitated. The moment she realized the problem, she began moving toward the solution. Ethan, embarrassed, scrambled out to assist her. As they wrestled the sack onto the dolly, his hand stinging from the cold, he blurted out, "Mrs. Vance, you just started. You didn't wait to find a better way, or someone stronger." She looked at him over the rims of her reading glasses, her eyes twinkling. "Ethan, you have to launch. You are like a rocket sitting on the pad, full of fuel, waiting for the perfect atmospheric conditions. But the atmosphere is never perfect." She wiped her hands on her apron. "You know my grandfather was a fireman. He taught me the most important rule. If you see a spark, you only have a split second before it becomes a blaze. It's the same with action. The brain is tricky. The moment you have a constructive impulse, I should exercise. I should call that client. I should start that chapter. Your mind immediately starts constructing 1,000 reasons not to do it. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that loves comfort and avoiding perceived danger, wakes up and begins what I call the 5-second veto. It vetoes the action. She leaned in conspiratorially. The secret, Ethan, is what I call the 5-second firewall. The moment you sense the constructive impulse, you have precisely 5 seconds before your brain kills it with doubt and dread. You must count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch. The countdown is not about planning. It is a ritual of interruption. It breaks the loop of procrastination. It forces your physical body to move before the shadow self can deploy its heavy artillery of excuses. Ethan listened, his medium dark roast growing cold in his hand. It sounded deceptively simple, like a parlor trick. He decided to test it. That afternoon, back in his apartment, he noticed the stack of dirty dishes in the sink, a stack he had been avoiding for 3 days, waiting for the perfect moment of high energy. The impulse struck. Wash the dishes. The shadow self immediately offered a competing thought. I'm too tired. Wait until the water is warmer. Just throw them away. Ethan stood frozen for a moment. Then he heard Mrs. Vance's voice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He dropped his phone on the sofa, marched to the sink, and turned on the faucet. He did not think about the cold water or the grease. He just moved. Within 10 minutes, the sink was gleaming. The feeling of small victory was startling. It was better than any motivation video he had ever watched. He used the rule on small things for a week. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answer the annoying email. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clean the sawdust off the workbench. Each small launch built tremendous internal momentum. Then came the ultimate test. It was Friday morning, the coldest day of the year. The temperature was 20 degrees, and the wind chill made it feel like 0. Today was the deadline for filing the initial business paperwork at the city clerk's office, located nearly 2 miles away across town. Ethan knew he needed to leave by 9 o'clock, sharp. The paperwork was sitting on his desk. The fear was immense. Fear of failure. Fear of the complex forms. Fear of the cold walk. 9 o'clock arrived. The shadow self roared. It is too cold. Just file it online next week. You don't have enough money yet. Ethan's hand reached for the phone, ready to scroll away the painful truth. But then he remembered the countdown. He stood up, looking at the papers. His heart hammered against his ribs. 5. He grabbed his coat. 4. He grabbed the envelope. 3. He headed toward the door, not letting his eyes focus on the wind whipping the branches outside. 2. He slammed the apartment door shut, locking in the shadow self. 1. Launch. He walked those 2 miles in the brutal cold, forcing his feet forward. He did not let himself think about the temperature. He focused only on the rhythm of his steps. When he finally arrived, shivering but triumphant, the feeling was not relief. It was empowerment. He filed the forms. He paid the fee. The grain and the grace was officially in business. The 5-second rule works because it is not about motivation. It is about physical action. It does not wait for you to feel ready, because readiness is a myth propagated by the fear of starting. Instead, the countdown is a powerful physical trigger that forces your brain to switch gears. It moves you from deliberation to doing. We often believe that massive steps are required for massive change. But life-altering change is built entirely on the sequence of small 5-second launches. Every single success, from a completed masterwork to a healthy lifestyle, is the result of winning the small battle against inertia, that internal force that keeps us stuck. As Mrs. Vance told Ethan months later, watching him proudly load lumber into his new work truck. You don't need courage, Ethan. You need commitment. Courage is the absence of fear. Commitment is simply moving in spite of it. Remember that the greatest opponent you will ever face is the temptation to wait. The snooze button, the unfinished project, the painful conversation, they all hide behind that 5-second veto. So the next time you feel the pull of comfort and doubt, remember the firewall. Stop thinking, stop analyzing, and start counting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch. I'll be back again with another inspiring story. Till then, be patient, be thankful, and keep moving forward in life.